What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 2 of the Casey and Tyler Show. Coming to you guys on this fine, it'll be a Wednesday, right? They'll be seeing
Wednesday.
Yep.
Wednesday.
We got quite the show for you guys today. Looking to do kind of a college football recap. We're going to talk a little LIV golf, Albert Pujols, Serena Williams, and of course, fantasy football season is among us. So let's get after that. Anything you want to say to start the show off?
Let's get into it.
Let's do it. So starting off, let's talk about some LIV golf here. They just finished their tournament up in Boston. It ended up being kind of a riveting finish, all things considered. I think at one point, Dustin Johnson, DJ, Cam Smith, Joaquin Neiman, and I think was that it? Those are the three main guys, and that's a pretty compelling leaderboard, to be honest. For it being LIV to come down to have a guy like Cam Smith, who was, I think, World Golf number 2. DJ's obviously a big name. Neiman's an up-and-comer. I think there was a fourth guy in there. But regardless, it was a compelling finish. I was listening to a podcast earlier today, Casey, and they were talking about the finish. And one thing that I think kind of went unnoticed that they brought up was after DJ sunk his putt to win it, and that thing was going well past the hole if it didn't hit the cup. I mean, it hit the back of the cup and bounced back in. It was crazy. The guys that he beat were celebrating, hugging him, and there wasn't a lot of damn, I really needed to win this one.
Right.
Because those guys, regardless, just made millions of dollars too. So
well, it's all guaranteed money for LIV.
Right. And so I think, for me, it does kind of take out an interest in spectating if the guys didn't really care to win it or not. I mean, I'm sure, yeah, they would have liked to, but it didn't have the same feeling as some other PGA Tour events that we've seen.
Right. I think DJ finished 15 under.
I think that was the winning score,
and that was in Boston.
Yep. Even with that being as compelling of a finish as it was, I mean, is this ever really going to be a viable product that we're going to tune in to watch? I mean, I wasn't really concerned. I don't know.
I don't like it because honestly, I don't like the whole shotgun start thing.
Well, the shotgun start did present some chaos with how it all finished up because they're all on different holes, and one guy may have a par 5 to finish versus a guy has like a par 3 to finish. I don't love it. I think that golf courses are typically designed for an 18-hole match in the sense of like the finishing holes matter. And so, yeah, I don't love it. I guess it does create a sense of chaos. It's not for me.
Imagine you playing the Masters and them doing a shotgun start and you ending on number 12.
Right. Like, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
I would tell the PGA to screw off pretty much.
Right. I don't know. I think that there are levels to it that people are in. Like there's some intrigue there as far as the format. What? Okay. But I don't know. I don't know. I think it's still so new. And seeing like then they finally have their full field. Talking about LIV golf, they finally have their full field. And
sorry, I'm just very proud of myself.
Okay. For what? And tell the listeners.
Okay, coming into this episode, guys, I'm watching my language.
You're doing a good job so far.
And I was going to tell the PGA to fuck off, but I told the screw off. So I was very proud of myself.
This is like you're having a whole
I was very proud of myself, so I couldn't hold myself. Sorry.
It's
Sorry,
okay.
guys.
You got it out? You feel good? Accomplished?
I feel great.
Okay. But like I said, like I was just saying, I don't know if this is what LIV Golf is going forward. I still don't know how much I just don't know how much I'll be watching on a week-to-week basis. I mean, it was cool to tune in at the end on YouTube.com because they still have a TV deal for some reason.
I honestly have never watched a live event.
Yeah,
I mean, I just don't care about. I mean, if I can't go on my TV and watch it, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to go on my computer, go on my phone just to watch it. Yeah, I can live cast onto my TV. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's that if I have to take an extra step to watch something, I'm not going to do it. I ain't doing it.
Okay.
Okay.
No one's gonna make you do it. I also don't think. I don't think that you're. I think you're in the majority with that statement. I think that majority of golf fans don't really care.
Well, no, it's Americans are not going to take the extra step to do it.
Okay,
We're lazy.
that's true.
But I mean, the LIV came out with some other news, and now they're allowing their players to wear shorts.
I love that.
So do I. I think that's a stupid rule that PGA has.
Yeah,
right
it's
now
just like golf elitist. Like, you know,
Like,
it's what gives a bad name to golf. Is it being snobby, elitist, rich,
old tradition ways? Like, no.
I think you can look sharp in shorts. I don't think I don't think it.
You
takes,
can.
Yeah, and so I do think that's if we're gonna be keeping tally of like good things PGA Tour's done and good things. This is a tally for the LIV Tour.
That is definitely a tally for the LIV Tour. I love this. I love the short move. I think the PGA Tour should follow suit next season. I don't see them doing it.
Maybe not for the majors. If we want to just slowly trickle in. But dude, the John Deere Classic. I mean, I hate
the waste management.
Let them wear especially shorts. That one.
Let them wear. You let them wear jerseys on the one hole.
Right.
Yeah. Let them wear shorts. Yeah. Come on, that's a different term.
There will be guys too that will still choose to wear pants, and all power to them. I just think the ability to choose. You got to think too. I mean, I know there's always the argument out there like golfers aren't athletes. I disagree with that, but it's hot out there, man, and we've all played golf when it's hot out, and wearing pants sucks.
Yes,
so
100%. Let the guys choose. If you want to wear pants, wear pants. If you want to wear shorts, wear shorts.
And I think like for the PGA, the PGA or the Masters, pants is fine. There's so much tradition like rooted in the Masters. I mean, they still make the caddies wear those
suits.
Yeah, the suits.
I mean, you can make it a course by course basis.
Yeah, leave it up to. I'm fine with that. Leave it up to the course, and if they don't think it's going to take away from their tournament, which
because
it won't
like there's courses that we play at now that's like you have to be dressed, collared shirt, shorts, pants, shirt tucked in.
Yeah, they don't want. Well, I think a part of that too is like there is the amateur golfer is typically pretty rowdy. They want to go out and they want to crush beers and have fun with their boys.
And you don't want a bunch of hacks on your course because it's gonna be a lot more money that you're gonna have to invest in your course to fix it all. But
that's why we have our local munis, right? Like here, right by us, we have Pineview, and that's like a perfect course for them. I'm in a league there. I think it's underrated for the price, especially the greens. I think.
So do I.
But that's a course where you're going to find a guy like me that has his shirt tucked in, thinking he's a stick when really I'm horrible. And I'm taking it serious. Then the cart in front of me is 4 guys that brought their own beer when they shouldn't have, and they're partying.
But it's at that point, a guy like that's not going to pay $70 for a round of golf, and like that's what these courses are. These really nice courses that charge $60, $70 for a round. They're like you have to wear this. Okay, yes, I'm already paying this much for a round. I'm pretty sure a guy that knows golf is going to go to that course. A guy that just is going to go out there and slam beers is not going to pay that much for a round.
They're probably a good player anyway. You know what I mean? Or they're invested into golf enough to where they know the etiquette. They understand. Like,
they're not going to go out there
walk that line.
Yeah.
You know, we do it all the time. We have a good time when we're out there, but we're not idiots. You know,
right?
We're not crashing the cart and. So I don't know. I do think we kind of got a little off track there.
We went really off track.
That's okay. I mean, that's part of the podcast.
We're talking golf.
I think when we talk golf, we're supposed to talk like this.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. I mean, look, one thing that I think should happen is a LIV versus PGA thing.
Yeah, I think at this point, we kind of talked about this, right? Like, we kind of talked last week, like, is the President's Cup even be worth watching? We're still going to watch it, of course, but I do think that there is a very compelling storyline for, like, a LIV versus PGA Tour event. I don't know that we're even close to that happening, because that would mean that the PGA Tour is recognizing that LIV as somewhat of an equal.
That they are a problem,
right?
And that it's like, oh well, if LIV beats the PGA guys, how bad is that going to look on the PGA?
Right.
Because
it's almost like a risk reward. Like, is the reward like you go out and you beat them? You're supposed to beat them. Cool. I don't know that the LIV guys care that much, but if the LIV guys somehow won, that would be poster board material, marketing material forever. You know
I'd be like, is the PGA Tour or do the top golfers golf in the PGA Tour?
Right. Well, yeah. So I don't know. Well, shit. I think that's fun to talk about, fun to think about. I mean, I would definitely watch it.
Oh, I would 100% watch it.
It would
because
be
it's one of those
toxic.
things. I mean, you have two leagues competing, the top guys in each league competing against each other.
Yeah, and I think that it would take Jay Monahan, the PGA Tour commissioner, a lot of stones, balls, guts to be like, yeah, we'll do that.
To accept that offer.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, we'll play against you.
It's like I feel like there's way more to lose than there is to gain for the PGA Tour there, and it's the complete.
Yeah, I think the risk is a lot higher than the reward. The reward isn't that much for the PGA, in my opinion.
No, yeah, it's not. Sorry, just quick sip of water.
Very good, but I'll get into the next topic.
Wait, no, hold on. One quick thing. I told you to put this on the show sheet at the last second.
Oh yeah.
I was sorry about that. I was watching an interview with John Rahm and Billy Horshold today, and there's a tournament that's coming up. I think it's this week, and some of the LIV guys are playing in it because they need world ranking points. And so this is a DP World Tour event, and basically, if you're Taylor Gooch or some of these guys that went over to LIV, they're no longer accumulating world golf ranking points because they don't recognize the LIV as like a serious tour. So the only way these guys can accumulate enough points to still be a high enough ranking to play in the majors is to play in these DP World Tour events. And Billy Horschel and even John Rahm like pretty much came out and said that there are some guys here that they have no respect for them just showing up here to get world ranking points because they have never even given a grain of thought, an ounce of energy to the DP World Tour. They've done nothing for it over the years. Or the guy like Billy Horschel's played in that event.
Right, and then all of a sudden you have guys that are all of a sudden playing in the event so they can play in majors. I mean, to me, that's bullshit.
Well, it is, because it takes away spots from guys that are like grinding on this tour the whole year, and now they get kicked out because like Cam Smith all of a sudden cares, or you know,
you have a guy
Gooch all of a sudden needs
you have a random guy that all of a sudden he plays in the LIV event every year, and then he needs to play in this just so we can play in next year's Masters because he hasn't won a Masters and he doesn't get that automatic invite back.
Yeah, I do have a problem with that more so just because it takes away guys that have been grinding on that tour and have given it like some credence. Like they brought some legitimacy to it when they played in it. Now you have guys that never even thought about playing in one of these events just to show up. I don't know. It does seem like it's pretty toxic out there. Like John Rahm said that there are guys that you're not speaking to, and that's a different level of toxicity that we've seen on a golf course for quite some time.
I love that from Rahm.
I do too.
I used to not like the guy.
Rahm's great, man.
Over the past, I'll say, year and a half, I became a huge fan of Rahm.
I need a lot of respect for him too, just how he handled the whole Ryder Cup thing last year, knowing that he was like the best player on that team and he didn't necessarily show up at times. Took that to heart, man. And I don't know, he's a good family guy. Well, Arizona State product.
I honestly thought he was just a big crybaby.
He used to be.
He used to be a hothead on the course, and that was why I didn't like him. That's honestly.
Well, that's why you used to not like Billy Horschel too.
That's why I don't like Billy Horschel. Now I'm starting to love Billy Horschel.
Great guy for PGA Tour, but that's pretty much all I got for that. It's something to watch. And another thing that's worth mentioning is, you know, the same people that produced the Drive to Survive show on Netflix about F1 are recording this PGA Tour season for their PGA Tour.
Oh, dude!
And there's going to be some great content. You would hope that they have as much access as they need to have guys on camera basically being like, you know, F the LIV guys. You know what I mean? Because you know they're like guys like Rory are so passionate about the tour that they had just no respect for any of these people. So, and I will say, Rahm did say like guys like Lee Westwood and Sergio Garcia who have left the PGA Tour to go to LIV. He has no problem with them playing in this event because he goes, they do it every year. Because they've been doing this their entire careers.
Yeah, it's the guys that don't do
ever pay. Yeah,
that's all of a sudden now they're doing it because they have to.
So before we get into fantasy football and our week 1 college football recap, there's some other big news in sports. There's always news in sports. We just try to bring the things that are most interesting. No one cares that the Red Sox are losing 7-2 right now. I care. Casey cares. You guys probably don't. So we're going to talk a little bit. Let's talk about one of the
team.
Stop. He does not mean that. One of the true legends, one of the true icons of our generation, of our time, in all of sports is Albert Pujols. What a year this guy's having.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, he was batting 100.
He was horrible.
And at the beginning of the year, and then ever since
a resurgence with the Cardinals.
Well, it was ever since he played in that home run derby. He's turned his season around.
Yeah, I mean
he's dangerous.
He's dangerous. You know, my dad has always said, and this is no knock to Pujols, and this is no credit to my dad because generally I think he just says things that are hot takes. But I remember watching Pujols play the Tigers in the 2006 World Series when he was with the Cardinals still, and before he left for the Angels, sorry. And we're watching, and he just looked so much older than it was saying that he was. And it was like the thing from the bench warmers when the guy had his hands like this.
Like I am 12.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, that dude's 40 already. And my dad was like, yeah, probably. You just never know. And I'm like, well, I don't know. It is crazy at his age, regardless, for him to be this close. I never even thought he'd even sniff 700. And now he's
5 away?
5 away. I think we talked yesterday. I think yesterday there was right around 25 games left in their season. Now, the problem becomes this, Casey, and I want you to put your manager hat on here if you're the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. Good team, making the postseason. Seeding matters. Want to try to get that bye. How many games can you play Albert Pujols in when you know he's this close to an iconic moment, not just for him, but for the franchise, but also balancing that with the fact that you do have a team to run?
I mean, it's one of those things that I'm going to pinch hit him. I'm not going to start him. So what I've heard is he's great against lefties.
In particular,
lefties. If I have a lefty reliever up, hey, I might pinch hit this guy.
Lefty starter, maybe
lefty
DH.
starter, lefty starter, maybe DH a guy. He'll get lucky. Lefty reliever comes in. Oh, let me pinch hit Albert because that dude has to stay in 3 batters.
There is an element here too, and I never played sports professionally, not even in college, but growing up playing team sports, especially baseball, there is probably an element within that clubhouse, within that team, that when they see him in the lineup, though, they probably get a little juiced. Because there's probably like, oh, Albert could get another one today.
Right.
So there could be, even if the numbers, the analytics, it may not say to play him, the manager could have his finger on the pulse of that clubhouse and be like, actually, the guys just get pretty jacked up when Pujols is in the lineup and has a chance to hit one, then it might be better to play him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there is an element to that in sports that the analytics can't necessarily pick up, where it's like, he might go for 4 today, but the team was jacked for him to play. So, I don't know, it's something to keep an eye on. I know we're all rooting for him. I think he gets it. I think so, too. I could see it. Hopefully, it's like the last game of the season. He's like 0 for 4 to start the day, like 2 deep flyouts, and it's like a walk-off for a 700. It'd be legendary. I would love that.
That would be insane.
Yeah, it'd be a good story. We'd definitely be talking about
that. We'll be talking, yeah, especially going up in that last stretch of 10 games.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And he hasn't got it yet. That would be a huge topic.
Yeah. Well, that's all for Pujols. We're pulling for you, all the Cardinals listeners out there. We're pulling for you guys. We hope we get to see it. Another big story that we probably should have talked about last week.
Yeah, honestly,
we were jacked up on college football.
It was one of those things that people don't. Is this Serena's last U.S. Open? Is it not? I mean, everyone thinks it is. I mean, I think it's the end of her career.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about Pujols, another absolute GOAT. Serena Williams, unreal.
I mean, in my opinion, during my life, when I think of women's tennis, I think of Serena Williams.
Yeah.
That's who I think of. I think of Serena and I think of Venus.
Yeah.
But who's better out of the two? Serena.
Great movie, by the way.
Phenomenal movie.
King Richard. About basically just how set their dad was that one of these two girls was going to be an absolute megastar. And from the minute they were conceived, they were going to be professional tennis players.
Right.
A great movie. Will Smith, another just iconic movie. So I was looking this up earlier just because I was curious, and I know we were going to talk about Serena. $94.6 million in career prize money, most of all time. That's 2 times her sister Venus's at $42.3 million, and she's second.
That's insane.
And then since 1995, Serena has earned more than $350 million in off the court endorsements. She's rich.
Oh, 100%.
She's got money. Just an absolute GOAT. Like we said, if it is her last U.S. Open, it was a thrilling one. I think she's second all time in 23 career Grand Slam single titles. That's the most ever by a player in the Open area. We'll get to the amateur era in a second when we talk about Margaret Court. Just an absolute legend. I mean, since 1995, like you said, I mean, that's when I was born. You came a measly year later. I agree that I think when you think about GOATs in sports, Serena's up there. We can talk about like Michael Jordan, LeBron James,
Tiger Woods.
I think Tom Brady for sure. It was so cool. I don't know. Did you see the picture?
Of Tiger celebrating.
Yeah, well, dude, that dude's jacked, by the way. He might not be able to have the swing speed he used to, but he's certainly trying. I mean, I don't know. I'll throw the graphic.
Well, when you're in crutches for a long time,
what else are you doing?
Yeah, you're gonna get buff.
Yeah.
You're carrying around all your body weight. You're gonna get buff. You guys should
see that graphic on screen if you guys didn't see it. But Tiger looks jacked. But it was cool to see someone of his stature that's as accomplished as Tiger
there, supporting him, rooting for him,
like appreciating the greatness that he's watching. You know what I mean?
Unlike Margaret.
Yeah, unlike Mrs. Court. Let's talk about that real quick. So Margaret Court, in her own right, is an absolute GOAT when it comes to tennis. She's Australian. I think she's like 80 years old now.
She played in the 60s and 70s.
So from 1960 to 1973, she has 24 career Grand Slam titles, and that's the most of all time. Margaret Court recently had some comments to say regarding Serena Williams that I don't know how to put this politely, but came off rather douchey, to be quite honest.
It was bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of those that, like, Serena, everyone's talking about Serena and, like, is this the end of Serena, how great she is? And then Margaret comes out and says that she admired Serena, but she doesn't know if Serena admired her. Why does she have to admire you?
Yeah.
What is she, I mean, no.
It just comes off as rather like, I used to be in the limelight and now I'm not.
It's so
let me just say a bunch of crazy things that gets people like us talking about it.
No, yeah, it's to get her name out there. It's a selfish move. It was completely not necessary.
So this is on FoxNews.com. Not saying we support one or the other. This is just the article I found, where Court is saying basically that she feels that she's been iced out of the tennis community, and despite her admiration for greats like Serena Williams, she believes the same respect is not often returned. She went on to say some other things like basically saying, I don't think she ever admired me. This is what's funny. So although Court...
that comment right there is so funny to me.
Why do you care? Like you
Why does she have to admire you?
Yeah, it's just...
What impact did you do to Serena Williams that she has to even look up into you in the tennis world?
What?
Because you were such a great player? Because you won a lot of your wins when you were an amateur?
Well, so that's what I was going to get to. So, Margaret Court, whose record still stands over Williams' 23 titles, she says her wins were earned in a shorter length of time. But the funny thing is, a lot of tennis critics, apparently, I'm not a tennis guy, so I can't really speak to what this means, but I can just tell you what I think it means. So a lot of tennis critics, they discredit what Miss Court has done in comparison to Serena because she earned most of her titles during the amateur era. And I'm guessing, based on context, that the amateur era was before the Open era in which Serena played in. So to me, it sounds like she beat a bunch of
people like us in golf.
Yeah, like
it's like Tiger Woods going out and playing beating me and you went around.
Yeah, like that's. I mean, I'm sure they were maybe like more accomplished than that, but I agree with the sentiment to where it's kind of like, well, maybe it's the same argument as like, I don't think Babe Ruth would be as good of a player now as he was back then. I mean, it's the same thing. Jimmy John's throwing to him. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing?
I mean, it's the same thing. LeBron won.
Okay,
stand up in the 80s because he's a little baby.
That's not
little
true.
crybaby baby.
We're not talking about that.
He could not handle the NBA when Jordan was playing.
We're not doing any LeBron slander on this show.
Oh, yeah, we are. LeBron, not even gonna say.
So
I'm a changed man.
So despite Ms. Court goes on to say that Serena played 7 more years than I did. I finished in my early 30s. People forget that I took 2 years off. I first retired when I was 25. Think I would never return to tennis. I got married, had a baby, but then had one of my best years, winning 24 out of 25 tournaments. Then she takes another shot. I came back after 2 babies, she exclaims. After having the first baby, I won 3 out of the 4 slams, and Serena hasn't won a slam since. I think since she had a baby, I think is what she's saying. So, needless to say, this just comes off rather douchey. I don't like Margaret Court. I don't even know who she is. I didn't know who she was before today. I'm not a tennis guy.
Pretty sure there's better tennis players around the world nowadays than when she was playing.
I agree.
And a comment. And a conversation.
Yeah, that's all.
Selfish comment, Margaret Court. Go back to Australia. See ya.
See ya. Yeah, she sucks. But yeah, like I said, shout out to Serena. She's the GOAT. I hope we see her play again. I'm not sure if we will. But yeah, if that's in her career end of the last US Open, then claps.
Round of applause.
Yeah, let's give her a quick round of applause. Yeah, okay, cool. Good for Serena Williams. GOAT, like I said. Now, my favorite topic on the show sheet. Casey, it is fantasy football season. Cue the music. Dun 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 dun. Am I getting a copyright for that?
Probably so.
We just got rocked.
Nope. That's you, not me. Go after him. Tyler Webb.
Oh, oops, I just didn't do that. So, okay, fantasy football season is among us. Let's talk a little bit, Casey. Oh, I lost the show sheet. This is just me being an idiot. Here we go. How many leagues, Casey, are you in this year?
Pressure.
We might have lost Captain Pressure.
I mean, I'm in 4. I'm in 4.
4 leagues.
4 leagues.
Okay, let's talk about it.
I picked 3rd in 2 of them, and I picked, I think, 9th in 2 of them.
Really?
That's
weird.
That's weird.
So the teams that you picked the same picks in, do your teams kind of look similar then?
Not really, because one was a 10-man league, one was a 12-man, so that makes a huge difference in picks, especially later in the draft. I mean, other than that, up early in the draft, honestly, they're completely different. My first round pick was the same. I picked Eckler.
Yeah,
I think
third,
he's gonna. Yeah, 3rd. Yeah. I think he's gonna have a hell of a year this year.
I couldn't agree more.
I mean, he gets what, the handoff touches, and he gets the.
He's a 3-down back. Yeah.
And he gets the receiving touches as a half point PPR league.
I'm so proud of you.
So I'm.
Want to know why?
Why?
You haven't gathered why I'm proud of you yet?
I haven't cussed yet.
No, I am proud of you for that. Kudos to that. But what's that sitting just to your left over there? How'd you get that, Casey?
Oh, this.
How'd you get that?
Okay.
What is that?
So
tell the listeners, do a little brag session for my man King Casey here.
So last year I joined my buddies wanted me to join a fantasy football league, and it's also all my golfing buddies. We go on a golfing trip every year. It's called the Drunkers Classic. I won the first annual. Shout out to you, Logan Seal, too. Champions.
I choked.
Logan is a 2-time champion. I wasn't able to go last year because I fucked up messed up my wrist.
He was doing so good.
Okay, so ended up winning my fantasy football league. Drafted Derrick Henry. He was the reason why I was winning a lot of games at the beginning. I had him and Jamar Chase. They were the reason why I was winning a lot of games at the beginning. Derrick Henry got hurt. I had a huge injury bug on my team. I was looking at the waivers. I saw Amon Rod St. Brown. I picked him up. Picked him up early. I think it was week 5.
Yeah, that's when the golf was still really struggling for the Lions.
Had him on my bench. I threw him on my bench because my team was it was very thin. My team was great starting team. My team was very thin. St. Brown went off at the end of the season when Derrick Henry wasn't there. It made a huge push. I started out really good, slipped back a couple of games, made the playoffs. As soon as I made the playoffs, that was when St. Brown got hot. That was when Chase really got hot. And
yeah, I would say.
Next thing you know, Scotty Casey has a Scotty Cameron.
Yeah. I just wanted to give him a second there to humbly brag, so we don't have to ever talk about any of that again.
Until I win this year and I buy a tailor-made stealth driver.
I really hope that doesn't happen. I mean, I love you, and I always want the best for you, but respectfully, go after yourself. I'm just gonna say, go fuck yourself. I do not want you to win this year, because when you finally got that payout, and I think we're on the phone, and I was like, Casey, what are you doing? Like he wasn't. He was like, sorry, I'm on Scotty Cameron's website.
Oh yeah, no. Like
I was like, are you serious? You just got the money.
As soon as I didn't even have the money yet. As soon as I won the league, swear to you, everyone that's listening, I bought the Scotty Cameron. I put everyone in the league in a chat and said, thank you for buying me a Scotty Cameron.
He's the most insufferable human ever.
I brought it to the draft.
He did. He was walking up like he had a pimp cane.
It was my pimp cane. I had a nice little pimp walk to it, nice little pimp shuffle.
So I'm in 3 leagues this year. The one that we're both in, well, we're in 2 of them together.
Yep.
So we do one. It's the one that he won last year. It's the one I've been in the longest. Casey joined last year, won his first year.
What'd you go last year? 3-10.
Was like that?
3-11. Oh yeah, we talked about last night. Tyler lost his first 6 games, won game 7,
then
lost another 4.
Yeah, that was 1-10 to start.
He ended up beating me the last week of the year.
Didn't matter. It was a garbage game for you, but yeah, it was. It was a rough year. I'm here to redeem myself. Shut up. I feel good about my team that I drafted this year. I think.
Are you sure?
I think I picked 4th.
Didn't you get what? Darrell Mooney?
No, that's in another league. I'm excited. Who knows? But I didn't want to go a deep dive into our roster.
Hey, he got the worst grade in the draft.
I did. I tweeted after the fact.
I mean, honestly,
the grade grades are bullshit.
Last year in that league that I won, I had a D+ grade.
Yeah.
And I ended up winning the league with a D+ grade. I am a great fantasy owner. If you guys ever need someone to run your fantasy league, let me know, because I will run it 10% of all winnings.
Okay. Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. So we're in that league together. I think I picked 4th. I think I took Jefferson. I loved my team. I tweeted out. I said I love my fantasy football team. And then our buddy Logan, that he was just talking about, just hit me back with a reply tweet that was just a picture of my draft grade. And it
was bad.
I woke up and I had like 14 to 20 Twitter notifications. It was just all guys like just clowning me. I was like, okay, Logan, touche. I play in week 1. I'm coming for you.
Last year, week 1. I think you got 58 points.
We were talking about a year ago, man. It's new year, new me, new fantasy team.
What's your total record? What's your total fantasy record?
In Yahoo,
50 and 60.
In Yahoo, I'm 50 and 60 over 5 years.
That is horrible. That's horrible.
I mean, I have a couple.
Guys, if you're looking for a new fantasy manager, do not look at that guy.
Why not?
You have a losing record.
Are you saying the proof's in the pudding?
You have a losing record.
Well, just wait for it. Okay, I will keep you guys posted about how our fantasy teams are doing.
Oh, we're going over weekly stuff.
We will. And I plan to I plan to give my best effort this year. You know, I think I've done some research. I think I know what I have to do. I just got to stay healthy. You know, but what I want to talk about is, so every year we do a league just for my dad, Britt Webb. B Webb says on Twitter, free plug, go follow him.
Oh yeah, no,
great Twitter.
No. Honestly, best Twitter you'll ever follow.
Great
Britt Webb's Twitter.
It's a good one.
Shout out.
So, every year I try to just get 12 guys together. We're hoping we can just do the same 12 next year, but it's usually a hybrid of leagues that we're already in. We're like, hey, everyone knows my dad. Like, we just want a league so he can play in it.
Find you guys last second.
And we did, and we made it work. So, the first year we did a league for my dad, shambles.
Oh, he drafted, what, 3 or 4 quarterbacks?
I think he took 4 quarterbacks in the draft. And his strategy was, in a 12-man league, his strategy was, well, I have trade bait. Literally, not thinking that there's 12 guys in the league, but there are 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. If your QB gets hurt, if you don't have a backup, you can just get one for free on waivers.
Right.
You're not going to be...
Yeah, not have to give up a top running back or top receiver just to give up a quarterback.
So that didn't work out great. Last year, I don't think he did anything crazy last year.
Only thing I would say is he may have drafted things too early.
Yeah, well,
like he did this year.
Yeah,
but I mean, no, he had He had a team.
Yeah, last year he was good.
He was hot for most of the year, and then all of a sudden his team took a shit.
He won like eight in a row to start the year, and he was. I mean, if you guys.
Oh, he was running his mouth.
Oh, dude, he was like, "You guys suck. I barely did any research. Who's the man?"
It was one of those arguments to where in that league I sucked. It was like, what's going to happen first? Is Casey going to get his first win, or is Britt going to get his first loss?
Yeah. So this year we get it all set up, and I'm like, "Dad, draft's Thursday at 7:30." It's like, "Okay, no problem." I'm like, "Well, let's go up to your office so you can look at how the drafting looks." So I'm going to be at Casey's. We're recording, I think, our first test episode, right?
No, that was our first.
Oh, it was? Oh, yeah, because it was Thursday Night Football with the games run. Yeah, so it was our first episode.
Yeah, it was our first full episode. So that was our test episode, because that was when we found out the camera sucked.
Oh, that's true. That did happen. Okay.
That was when we found out the camera only recorded 12 minutes, and then we did a 40-minute episode.
And we were like, nothing to...
We were like, nope, we ain't doing that. We'll do it again tomorrow.
So anyway, so I get it all set up, and I'm like feeling good. I'm like, all right, you pick this pick or whatever it was. Well, you get to like the 7th round of the draft, and this is when drafts are really won or lost. I mean, this is when you're getting those guys on your bench that you think that could spot start, the sleepers. And what does my dad do? He takes a kicker in the 7th round. Granted, probably the best kicker in fantasy.
Yeah, because
in the 7th round, bro.
He's gonna get you about 10 points a game.
No shot, dude. I was so. I rolled my eyes. I'm like, there goes that man again.
I mean, it's one of those things that, unless you love your team, and then you're like, okay, I'll get a kicker now. Just so it's like, oh, if it's like you're picking, and that's your 7th pick is that, and all of a sudden you're not picking until 18 picks from now. Okay, yeah, I might, because who knows if Justin Tucker's going to fall that far. Most likely he will, but if you're scared and you want to lock in that kicker, might as well take it.
I mean, you're defending my dad because you love my dad, but all I'm gonna say is that was idiotic at best, and I hope it cost him.
Oh no, horrible decision. I mean, I'm just saying, if you, the only time you do it is if you love your first 6 picks, to where it's like these first 6 guys are going to win.
I mean, he drafted a defense high this year too. I mean, the way most people draft is you don't take a kicker or a defense until you're down to about your last 2 to 4 picks. And then if you love a defense more than you like, the backup running back for the Giants, okay, fine. I understand that. But, I don't know, 7 is, that's...
I mean, it's early. It's early. I mean, I have high hopes for my teams. There's only one league that I'm really nervous in, is because I didn't realize until I think it was round 13 of 16 that I had 6 receivers and 3 running backs.
Yeah, you texted me about that one. That was rough.
In the league that we're in together, I think I have. I did the same thing, and 2 of my running backs have the same bye week, and I have 2 quarterbacks. Both my quarterbacks have the same bye week.
Yeah, that was a massive mistake that you made.
I didn't even realize it. I thought I swear I looked.
Yeah, when you said that out loud, it was almost, that's an all-time funny fantasy story. It does not beat. Last year, the commissioner...
Oh, my God.
He does a great job. He's, bar none, probably the most invested commissioner in any fantasy
great
league.
One of easily the best commissioner I've had.
He cares. He does such a good job.
The league intro, love.
Yeah, he's horrible at fantasy football. Horrible. But he does such a good job at commissioner. Last year, I think we get to like the 6th or 7th round, he just exclaims, "Oh my God, I have 4 Bengals on my team." I'm like, what, 4 Bengals? So I was like, first 8 picks, he took 4 Bengals players, not realizing. I think he had Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, and Joe Mixon, or something like that.
No, I had Chase. He had every Bengal receiver but the best one.
Oh yeah, because he had Tyler
Chase,
Boyd.
He had Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. And I'm pretty sure he had Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Or he may have had the 3-headed monster, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. He may have had just them.
Yeah, well, regardless,
2 Bengal receivers and a Bengal running back. It was 3 Bengals.
Ridiculous.
To a team that you did not know that was going to be that good.
No one knew they were going to make it to the Super Bowl. Regardless, stacking that much, I mean, you can just be screwed if it doesn't work out.
Oh, 100%.
And it was so funny that we were calling him like Bengal Man. He showed up this year in a Cincinnati Bengals t-shirt. He had Bengal socks that he would wear on Sundays. like with the Bengals logo on it. He invested. He went all out. So I give him props for that. That was an all-time funny fantasy moment. So I love that. So we'll keep you guys posted on how our fantasy teams do. I'm bringing home the ship this year. I'm getting myself a Scotty Cameron or a tailor-made stealth driver. So that's what's going to happen. So,
this guy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's.
Oh my god.
Woo! You know what the funniest part is? Is the league that we made for my dad. I play him week 1, and he's already talking shit.
Because he's gonna beat you.
He better not, because that will be hard to live down. I mean,
he's gonna win.
He will be right. Like
your team sucks, dude. Your team. Let's move on. Your team sucks.
It doesn't. Okay, week 1.
Okay, look. Before we move on, actually, in all 3 of your leagues, there's 17 games, or there's 14 games in a regular season.
And yes.
Okay, combined, we'll say you might win 7 games combined in 3 leagues.
Are you serious?
Moving on.
You're just, dude. He doesn't know what he's talking
He might win.
That's
his
crazy.
teams are that bad. We might go over his teams next episode.
I'll throw graphics up right now. I'll show my teams.
His teams aren't that good.
My teams aren't bad. No, I don't think I'm gonna throw a graphic up only because I don't want to get flamed.
Because his teams suck.
I keep the secret sauce to myself. You know.
Okay, moving on. College football week 1 recap.
All right, go for it. I'm gonna have to drink water. Go ahead.
So, I mean, these 2 games were Thursday night when we were...
Whoa. Scotty's coming to me, dude. You got it?
Jesus. Yeah, I feel like it's going to go, but if it goes, it goes.
Just keep it on that golf bag over there, folks. It could come crashing down at any moment.
Okay. Get back on track. So, this game was Thursday night game. Great way to start out week 1.
West Virginia Pitt. Oh, so
that's
this is like
that's the backyard brawl?
Yeah, because they're like an hour from each other.
So I don't know why they stopped this rivalry.
They used to play all the time before.
Well, they were in the conference together.
And then what did West Virginia leave or did Pitt leave?
What they were in what together? The Big East. Or I don't know what conference they were in together in football.
It was up until 2011. They played every year, and it was a serious rivalry. And all of a sudden, they just stopped. And when I tell you, when they say it's the backyard brawl, it is. When I visited West Virginia for law school, our next trip was to Pitt. I did not think we were going to be there that quickly. It's so close.
Oh, it was, yeah. It's an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah. I mean, it's close. That place was rocking.
Oh yeah, that was a phenomenal game to start.
It was a great way to kick off. Kick it off.
Oh yeah. I mean, what? They ended up pulling it out at the very end. They won 38-31.
Yeah.
It was a great game, and then you ended. It was like that game ended, and then you went into an amazing fourth quarter of the Penn State-Purdue game.
Yeah.
Purdue easily could have won that game.
Their coach just, for the last 3 possessions, just lost his mind.
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on with that team, and they could have easily won that game.
They should have won that game.
Easily won that game.
That game was a banger. Well, I was going to say about the Pitt game, I think you told me last week that there was people from West Virginia, supporters, I should say.
Yeah, I saw a tweet that, like, someone said that supposedly West Virginia people were buying Pitt season tickets
so they could go
just so they can go to the game, and then they were just selling the rest.
Yeah, and I was like, that's some serious commitment, and I love it.
That's college football fans for you.
Right? No, exactly. So yeah, those were 2 great games to start it off. I thought Purdue, like you said, should have pulled that out. Another game where it just shows like college football at night is just electric. I love a noon kickoff. That's also electric. Those fans were lubed up. They were liquored up. They were ready to party.
Middle of the week, Thursday night games, I love them.
Yeah.
I
can't wait for action.
Oh, I can't wait
for action. It's the worst but best football of all time.
100%. Let's get into some action talk right now.
Oh, yeah. That was a
Thursday night game.
That was a great transition.
Central heading down to Stillwater, putting up 44 points, covering the 22, I think it was, that they were... They were
22, yeah.
22, I think that's what I got them at. Yeah. Or 21, it was over 3 touchdowns. It was the best backdoor cover ever. We were watching the game while we're in. We shut it off, and I think it was the second quarter, because it looked like Oklahoma State was going to blow Central out.
Yeah, so I think that they were mad about what happened in 2018.
Yeah, so I was going to say, give me a second to have the floor here, because I am a certified Central Chippewa. Went there, graduated in 4 years. I love the Chips. I love everything about the Chips. I love Mount Pleasant. But there was a game, I think it was 2017, 2018, where CMU goes down to Stillwater.
Cooper Rush was the quarterback,
Cooper
right?
Rush was the quarterback. And there was something that happened at the end of the game that allowed CMU to have one last play. They convert a Hail Mary, not convert, but they toss a Hail Mary, score at the end of the game to win it, like with 0 seconds on the clock. It was one of the crazier endings to a game I've ever seen. And like lo and behold, the referees in the game screwed up. CMU should not have been given another play, but they were. And it kind of ruined Oklahoma State's season, because I think if they would have won out, they would have won the Big 12 and then had like a chance to go to better bowl game.
I mean, losing the. I'm not like trying to say like Central's a bad team, but like losing to a team like Central when you're a team like Oklahoma State week 1,
you're right.
It's especially at home. It is tough to make a comeback on that.
Yeah. Well, so what I was gonna say is like till this day, they like the rings that they got that year, like didn't include the CMU loss. That's how like serious like Oklahoma Gundy took it, like on their when it's like their rings has their record on it. I think it says like 11-0 or 12-0. Just like doesn't acknowledge the fact that they actually did lose a game to Central that year, which I kind of love that. I'm a big
so
Gundy
funny.
fan, especially when he went after that reporter years ago. I'm a man. I'm 40. Like that's a legendary clip. I love that clip. And so I will say this. You and I both, we like Oklahoma State. Not when they're playing CMU. I always ride with Oklahoma State just because I love their coach. But when they play Chippewas, you better watch out, because it seems like CMU has their number. And although they didn't win on Thursday night, hell of a backdoor cover. We turned it off. I don't like watching CMU get their doors kicked in ever. And we got a text from a buddy that was just like in a group chat with me and a bunch of guys I graduated with, and was like, wow, great backdoor cover by CMU. Wait, how do you put up 44 on the road at night in Stillwater? Incredible. And I'm sitting there, Casey had shut it off. He had put action. He had action on the game. But I was like,
yeah, I bet Central to cover.
Yeah, and he thought, he was like, oh, that's cool, starting the year off with a loss, you know. And I was like, Casey, I think CMU backdoor covered. He's like, there's no way.
It was one of those, like, I didn't trust him. I was like, dude, shut up.
He thought I was messing.
Don't mess with me. I'm like, it's like I thought he was playing a prank on me. And I was like about to punch him in his face if he was wrong.
You know what the worst part about this story is we were recording, or we thought we were recording. So I thought we were going to have Casey's reaction to them covering line. He ran around the room. I mean, he was like a kid on Christmas when his red rifle just got delivered or whatever.
Lost my mind.
And I was like, dude, if that's on camera, which we thought it was, I was like, that's going to be epic. And it just wasn't, which was disappointing. You want to try to react for us, your reaction here?
I can't.
It was
one of those, it's in the moment, it's raw, you have to catch Casey in the moment for those type of reactions. We will at some point be having, we forgot to add that in here.
What? Oh, that's okay.
Whatever. But we will be having like what we'll be calling a betting cave. We'll just, during games on Sundays or maybe Saturdays or big games, we're just going to live stream our reactions. We'll have our bets on a whiteboard so you guys can kind of see what our plays are for the day. And you can, at that point,
you come hang out, watch some sports.
Yeah, come hang out, talk with us. We'll talk back.
Crack a cold one.
Yeah, drink a beer with us. We'll drink a beer with you.
We're definitely going to be having beers during the betting game.
And you can see our live reactions. It's definitely going to be worth it. Just the banter of Tyler's going to say something really stupid, and then I'm just going to ignore him. Like, I mean, he always says some stupid stuff on.
This is Casey games. Hot Takes right here. Are you crazy?
He's Tyler Cold Takes.
Oh, that was so funny. All right, moving on.
Okay, moving on.
Fire up chips, though. I do want to end with that. Fire
up chips.
Michigan State.
So that's the Central. I mean, the Central's rival, big rival, Central or Western.
What?
It's like now we're going to Central and Western.
We're transitioning down to the next game.
Yeah, I would say Central should be a rival of Michigan State for how close they play them all the time. But moving on.
When's a win?
But so go ahead. Yep.
Michigan State Western. Michigan State looked like shit. Peyton Thorne
They didn't look great.
He didn't look good.
They got the win.
I mean, Western was in the game until the fourth, and Michigan State kind of pulled away in the fourth.
Yeah.
I mean, they ended up covering. Spread was 21.5. They won by 22. So, I mean, I don't know what to expect for this Michigan State team. We'll see. I mean, they're playing a worse opponent this week in Akron. So, I mean, we'll get more into that on
Thursday.
Friday's episode.
Yeah. Recording Thursday.
On later this week's episode. But, I mean, I don't know what to expect. That's just...
So what I gathered the most watching the State game, they won. It was ugly. Western isn't, like, they are a MAC team, but they are, like, historically and recently one of the better MAC football teams. So they're a program. They got a legit coach, and it's no cakewalk whenever you play Western. I mean, they played Wisconsin on New Year's Six Bowl like 3 years ago. I mean, it was PJ Fleck's last year.
Oh yeah, They were talking about if they lost the game that year.
They didn't undefeated.
Were they undefeated?
Well, regardless, they're a good program.
Because like they were talking, yeah.
But more so than State, like sticking it out and grinding out a win, I thought Western more lost that game. They had so many opportunities to like really put pressure on State.
Oh, they didn't.
And they didn't. I mean, there was turnovers and
I mean, but is that just one of those things that's what should happen?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, right. And again, I don't know how much it tells us about Mel Tucker's Spartans this year. As a Michigan fan, it still scares me. I still think Tuck's clearly shown that he's a legit coach in the Big Ten, signing that massive extension last year. So I think even his comments after the game where he was like pretty disappointed in how they played.
He should be.
And he was kind of basically said like that was bullshit. If we don't play better, we're not going to accomplish what we want to accomplish this year. So we'll see what State is going forward. I mean, they don't have the hardest next game, so hopefully they can get some things ironed out against Akron. I want State to be undefeated when they play Michigan this year because I just think it adds a level.
It'll definitely add a lot to that
game. One loss, undefeated. I think it no matter what, State could lose every game up until the Michigan game, and it would still be a really big game because they just always seem to like have Harbaugh's number there. But we'll see what State is going forward. I don't know how much we'll talk about Western going forward unless they play in a big game, but we'll be talking about State.
I mean, we'll probably bring up Central Western when they play each other. I think that they play on a Wednesday night later in the year when some action comes on. So
it might be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
It might be.
Yeah.
It might be, but we'll see how much action we'll bring up. But
this was a great game.
This was a great game.
This is my favorite game.
I mean, it's not really a big game, but I mean, I had some action on it.
To one of the schools, it was a massive game.
I mean, one of the schools it was a massive, but it's like nationally. Old Dominion. Vodtech heading to Old Dominion on a Friday night.
That place was
a couple of years ago. I'm pretty sure Old Dominion beat Vodtech in Vodtech.
I think you're correct.
And then now you're heading to Old Dominion, a team that beat you a couple years ago, that you're going to just, you're going to go into their territory and beat them?
Yeah, I read
that ain't happening. I knew Old Dominion. I was riding Old Dominion all week.
We rode them hard.
Vodtech looked like they were going to win and pull away in the second and third quarter, but then Old Dominion made a comeback, and then they ended up winning late in the game.
So some more interesting notes from that game. It was a fantastic game. I know Old Dominion Stadium isn't the same caliber as like Vodtech's in terms of attendance or notoriety, but they packed that stadium full. The kids looked like they were having a great time. The student section was going crazy. Did you see that after the game, the Vodtech players get back to the locker room and stuff had been stolen?
Are you serious?
Yeah, so I guess some people there's a whole investigation underway, but it looks like some Old Dominion employees might have had some sticky fingers. We'll keep an eye on that. I did see, too, that there was a bunch of weird things that happened. Coming out of halftime, there was like a delay because the Virginia Tech coaches got stuck in an elevator that wasn't working. It's like, was it really not working, or it's like some people Old Dominion just playing some mind games with these guys? Kind of reminded me of like the whole the lights went out at the Super Bowl. It's like now someone just unplugged something for sure. This isn't you know what I mean? So that was interesting. And then I did read after the game that for the next 10 years, Vodtech's making a bunch of trips back to Old Dominion to play them in Old Dominion. hopefully this is kind of like a new age of college football of like even if you're not in the same conference, if you're in the same state or you're close geographically, you'll get a chance to play. Because I know.
Well, it's like it's like the whole Michigan State playing Central. Now they're playing Western.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Because it's like in state, it's local. There is like some added juice there, especially for the young, like the smaller teams.
I mean, most of those guys, or I'm not going to say most of them, but some of those guys from like the MAC schools, from like smaller in-state schools, they wanted to go to that.
Of course, yeah, they probably
to that U of M, and now they're having a chance to go play against them in their stadium.
Yeah, I remember when I was at CMU. Shameless plug here. We were pretty in with the athletic department. We had a lot of friends on the football team and on the basketball team, and talking with those guys, like when they made a trip to East Lansing, like they were juiced for that because like it's a chance for them to individually like showcase like I could have played here. I'm good enough to play in the Big Ten, but as a program too, even if you don't win, I mean you always want to win. That's
you just compete.
That's huge for a program. Yeah,
because then you can go in the momentum and be like, guys,
we're
especially for like college basketball. Okay. We hit our conference tournament. We hung around with Michigan State.
Right. We're afraid of these guys.
We're gonna go out. We're gonna run through this tournament. We're gonna get hot, and then next thing you know, we're gonna go into the tournament all hot, and then maybe we might make it to the Sweet 16.
Who knows?
Maybe the Elite Eight. Who knows? You just gotta get hot for a couple of games.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's always some added juice there. We'll keep an eye on state or on like obviously we just talked about Michigan State, but like on some of these smaller teams going forward, whenever we have like a dog like this or like an underdog, it's kind of like a trap 'em game scenario. We'll probably talk about it just because it's for us as sports fans. I don't have any ties to Vatech, win or lose. I don't care unless we have action on it. But I'll always be cheering for the underdog.
Oh, 100%.
Like
100%.
That's why it's like easier to bet Old Dominion. Just like you want them to win, so it makes it easier to cheer for. So that was a great kind of starting slate. Let's talk about Michigan, Colorado State. This is a game. Last episode that we hammered, we talked a lot about. I think it was the game we probably spent the most time on. Michigan looked good. I didn't expect them to look bad against Colorado State. I think that I could have played running back on Saturday.
I could have scored against Colorado State.
And that's no knock against Colorado State. I do think Michigan
that's just more credit to Michigan.
Yeah, I think Michigan's got themselves in a good spot program-wise. Besides this whole weird quarterback thing,
I don't get that. I mean, JJ's obviously the guy. I don't know what the discussion is right now. Well, JJ's the guy.
I feel like they totally broke Cade McNamara's confidence too with this whole you're going to start, then JJ's going to start. He had some comments after the game that were pretty.
That was crybaby-ish.
Yeah, I didn't like that. The whole thing about Cade this entire time that he's been at Michigan has been that he's a great leader. That's like his best trait.
Oh, that wasn't leadership at all.
No,
that press conference was I'm a crybaby. I don't know. I don't know why you're giving JJ a chance because of what I did in the past. Okay, well, we're in 2022. I don't care what you did in 2020. I don't care what you did in 2021.
Yeah.
JJ's the better guy. If he had a better camp, then your RVRs are even. What happened on Saturday proved to me that JJ's the better guy.
Yeah, I mean, it does suck for Cade. I mean, he's a college athlete. He's a kid. I don't want to be too hard on him.
Well, yeah.
But I will say this. If you know your job's on the line, you cannot go out 9 for 18 for like 50, 60, 70 yards, whatever it was, against Colorado State when one of those pass plays was like a large chunk of his yardages. Like, he had like one big play and everything else.
Yeah, he was 9 for 18, 137 yards.
Yeah.
One of his passes was 61 of them.
Right, okay, yeah. So, I feel for him because I definitely like love what he did at Michigan last year. I mean, winning the Big Ten, that was great. It does seem like since JJ's been in Ann Arbor, it's been kind of like this underlying theme of like, we'll win.
Like there's a shadow over.
Kind of, Cade. Yeah. But Cade handled it so well last year. I didn't expect him to even be rattled by this. Like, okay, cool, let him start against Hawaii. Doesn't matter.
But they got to him.
If Cade goes out, or JJ goes out and plays even halfway well, I think that we'll see him being the week, Big Ten starter.
Honestly, you can't really. I don't think you can compare these two games because
Hawaii's horrible.
Michigan open. Let me just get this out there. Michigan opened up against Hawaii at 50.5 point.
And that's going to move more.
It's already up to 51.5. It already moved from 50.5 to 51.5. I can honestly see this possibly getting close to 60 by the end of the week.
Yeah, Hawaii's horrible. We saw that like in week 0. They just got like pummeled by Vanderbilt.
Yeah, you lost to Vanderbilt 63-14, I think it was.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And that was on the island. You're talking about that team coming to Ann Arbor, a team that is horrible at college football, playing the top 4, the number 4 team in the country that has, we'll say, possibly the best offensive line in college football, possibly. Or one of the best.
Yeah, they're up there.
One of
Them
the
in
best.
Georgia.
Yeah. Offensive lines in college football.
Yeah,
Hawaii has no shot.
See, that's what's going to be interesting for me to see is like I know that like they could probably not pass the ball once against Colorado State or Hawaii and they would have won. They could have literally not thrown a pass but ran 100% of the time. But like they gave JK 18 opportunities. I'd love to see if they just open it up for JJ, like 5 wide, like go dice him up, kid. Let's see what you got, and really let him prove it or lose it. I hope we see that because I think everyone already knows that Michigan can run the football. That's not like an unknown thing. So I hope we'll see. I don't like the dynamic going forward because here's the problem we run into. It's the same thing that's happening in San Francisco with Trey Lance and Jimmy right now. Let's say you name JJ as the guy. There's still going to be guys on that team that are going to be like, whoa, what do you mean? We just won the Big Ten with Cade last year. What are we switching for? There's also going to be guys that are going to be like, yeah, JJ's a better player. I love that. But the minute one of these guys makes a mistake, whoever's named starter, there's going to be people on that sideline, people in
even
that
fans.
Yeah, no, fans, especially
fans.
But I'm more so like in that locker room that are part of that program, they're going to be kind of looking around like, hey, we got a guy right here that can do it. Like, we should just put him in. So we'll see what happens going forward. It's going to be an interesting dynamic to watch. I don't like it. I do think it kind of fractures the quarterback room a little bit. But I do think that if you're Harbaugh, you got to be more decisive. You got to make a decision.
Make a decision.
And then run with it. You know what I mean? Don't do this whole JJ's the starter where he throws let's say he starts out, 1 for 6 with a pick. Well, all of a sudden, Cade's looking pretty good. Can't do that.
Be the coach. Make the tough decision.
Yeah.
Make JJ your guy.
Yeah.
End the discussion.
Yeah. So that's all I got for the Michigan-Colorado State game. There's not much else to say there. I'm pissed that they didn't. I thought they'd get to 60 themselves.
The over didn't hit. Well, they covered the 30. They didn't hit over 60 and a half. They were. I think they got to 58. The final score was 50 to 50 to
yeah,
51.
I meant the over didn't hit. I'm just saying. I personally thought Michigan themselves.
Michigan could have easily got it, but I mean, if they would have played JJ more, they would have easily hit it.
Right.
But it is what it is. This game was a banger of a game.
Is this your favorite game?
This was easily one of them. No, because it ended on bad side of me.
Okay.
This was a phenomenal game to start on. This was like, after this game, the ending of this game, the Georgia...
Are you going to tell them what the game is?
Appalachian State, North Carolina.
There you go.
Sorry. Appalachian State, North Carolina. Thank you. You're good. After this game was over, I had to take a 20-minute nap because I was so riled up. I was so amped.
No shot.
I had to take a 20-minute
nap. He got so excited
he
had to sleep.
to relax. So, this game was a banger of a game.
No way.
Hold on, let me find out the final. Can you look at the final score?
Yeah, I got
real
you.
fast.
Yeah, I got you.
So, hold on, real quick. Let me ask you a question. Does this just prove that in-state rivalries, no matter what, are bangers?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So the start off this game is App State. It was like 40. Went up 21-7. I thought App State was gonna. I was like, oh, easy bet. I bet App State -2, and I had them on a parlay at money line. But I thought they were gonna blow North Carolina out of the water.
It finished at 63-61, but the best part of the game was in the fourth quarter where Appalachian State outscored North Carolina in the fourth quarter 40-22.
Yeah.
They dropped 40 in the fourth quarter.
App State was down 41-21 somewhere in the third quarter.
Yeah, it was the third quarter. They didn't score in the third.
I felt like I was like, this game's over. App State's not going to win. I was just messing around. I kind of turned my audio off the App State game and turned on the Michigan game because I was kind of rooting for the over in that game. Then next thing you know, App State's making a comeback. I'm like, oh my, what is going on? What is going on? And then at the very end, App State's
What is going on?
They scored a touchdown. I mean, obviously, I wanted them to kick the field goal instead of the game in the overtime because I had them at -2. I didn't need them to win by 1. I needed them to win by 2 or more. So I was like, kick the extra
why
point.
they went for it, though. When you just drop 40 in the fourth quarter, you're so high.
Yeah, you're high. You're going for it. I mean,
that's why
it's all on the receiver. If you look at the play, he was wide open. Quarterback threw a decent pass. Receiver turned around and just tried to backpedal.
Yeah, he should have caught that.
Ball went over his head. If he would have just ran them and just caught it over his head, touchdown, App State wins the game.
Yeah, I agree with 100%.
So they score a touchdown. They do an onside kick. One of the best onside kicks, like defensively, I've ever seen.
Yeah, North Carolina was ready for that.
Matt Brown told his front, 6 guys, pick a guy, hit him. The guy he has 10 yards back, you watch the ball the entire time. Full sprint, catch it. He caught the ball. He's running full speed. Runs down, scores a touchdown.
Yeah.
North Carolina goes up 8 with 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
App State drives the ball all the way down the field, scores a touchdown. Horrible 2-point conversion.
Yeah, that was not a good play.
Lose the game 63-61. Phenomenal game.
I will say,
way to
I
start
think at this
Saturday.
point I was over here because we watched the ending together. Because I remember, I think I was at like that house warming party I had to go to, and I had it up on my phone, and I was like, "This game's dead." Like I just turned it on because I was doing one of those things that you shouldn't do at a housewarming party where I have my YouTube TV up, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's good to see you," but I'm like, really, I don't care because I got games to watch. But I was like, this one's dead. Like, let me grab a cocktail and like go talk with my cousin. She can show me the house. And I get over here, and it was madness. And we watched that onside kick, and Casey's not kidding. But it was in the front 6 guys of Appalachian State trying to recover. They got destroyed. I mean, they got lifted off the ground. It was like they didn't even. The front guys for North Carolina.
It was like run up and just.
They didn't even look concerned about where the football
hit 'em.
was. They just leveled these guys. It was great.
Yeah, the ball's where the ball is. We have a dude behind us that's worried about that. My job is to go at that dude and hit him as hard as I can.
They didn't just block them. They like took them off their feet. It was great.
Yeah, it was
that's why
phenomenal.
football was great. This game was like, this is Cincinnati, Arkansas. I didn't love this game. I was so jacked up for this game, and it ended up just being kind of a boring.
I mean,
watch.
it was one of those games to where you either have 2 things out of this game. Cincinnati is exactly where they are last year, and they just didn't skip a beat, and they are a great team.
Yeah.
Or Arkansas's a fraud.
Yeah.
I'm more leaning towards the Arkansas's a fraud point because they had so many opportunities to just pull away, and then they just didn't.
Yeah, it was weird. Like I was super excited for that game. Like just done some. All we're hearing is how good Arkansas's quarterback could be this year, and like they could be a big sleeper in the SEC. And again, watching it, I think I came away more unimpressed with Arkansas than I was impressed with Cincinnati. But that's just 2 teams to keep an eye on this year. It didn't really tell us a lot.
Oh yeah, you couldn't tell anything from that game.
It's the first game of the year. Obviously, still kinks to work out on both sides of the ball for both teams. I do think I was pretty impressed. Like Luke Fickell just seems to have it worked out there. Where like they're just always going to be competitive. They might not be the most talented, but they find ways to be competitive and find ways to win. Or at least, like I said, keep it close. So I did think that was interesting. I was jacked up for the game. I expected like Arkansas to just boat race them, and that didn't happen. So that was kind of disappointing. But yeah, I mean, just so far, just as we're talking about all these games, Case, unbelievable first slate. Are you adding one in right here?
No.
Okay. Unbelievable first slates. Then we move on to probably the biggest flop.
Oh, this
worst
game was horrible. I mean,
worst
this game
of the schedule.
It just wasn't even close. I mean, Georgia absolutely destroyed Oregon. Final score was 49-3.
It could have been more than that. It wasn't even that close. And
I mean,
no way. Georgia literally. You're muted. There you go.
I'm looking at Bo Nix's stats. He was 21-37, 173 yards, 2 picks.
I mean, it's tough too because Georgia literally put a dog collar on Oregon and walked them around the block. I mean, it wasn't even close. Stetson Bennett, I think I heard today that like before the game it was like plus 1,000 something for Heisman, and after the game it's like only plus 100 or something like that. Just balled out. Georgia didn't miss a beat.
Georgia did not miss a beat.
They're going to be obviously very good. I think everyone expected them to be very good. But yeah, that game there's not much else I really want to say other than that. Like, I don't know if Oregon's going to be good or not. I did think it was funny before the game. Dan Lanning, Oregon's new coach, former defensive coordinator for Georgia, went over, gave Kirby Smart a big hug, and they were laughing and smiling. You could tell like Kirby's like, I'm about to fuck you up. Like they were laughing, hugging before the game. And I was like, Kirby's just looking at like, dude, I'm about to fucking destroy you, and they did. And so I honestly, I think I had this game on for like the first half, and I was like, yep, let's find something else.
I mean, I had both this game on. I had this game on the entire time, and I had the Cincinnati game on, but it was one of those things that I was just more watching it because I wanted to see how good Georgia actually was.
Yeah, and they're good. They're good. They could win it all again this year.
I think so.
I'm also like kind of a Stetson Bennett fan because like last year it was always like, he's just a game manager. Just don't do enough to like lose the game. Like just hand it off, do these little dinks and dumps, throw it to George Pickens if he's open, and like kind of like to me at least watching what I watched, kind of looked like they were like, no, dude, this is Stetson's team. They let him throw it around a little bit. He looked really good. Georgia, obviously, like I just said, we knew they were going to be good. I think this proves that they are really, really good. Because despite Oregon, new coach, Mario Cristobal left a lot of pieces for Oregon. And I know last episode I almost talked myself in to Oregon, then I talked myself right out of Oregon. I'm glad I didn't bet that game. I'm glad I changed that because obviously I was pinned.
You were bound.
I would have been on the wrong side of that.
I would have. I would have brought that up the entire season.
Yeah,
Just be like, remember when you?
Remember when you picked Oregon plus 17 and they lost by 46?
So, but yeah, no, I love that. I thought, I love when I say I love that. Like, I love that I changed that for me. Like that was really good.
I mean, that was good. That was a good switch by you.
Let's move on to Notre Dame, Ohio State.
I mean, this is another game that it goes one of two ways. It's either Notre Dame their defense is really good, or Ohio State's offense is not that good, and Ohio State's not that good.
It could be that.
It's one of, it could be both.
So what I think it is, and then I'll let you tell me how wrong you think I am. I think Ryan Day looked like he was trying to force like passes when it was really evident that they were running the ball really well.
Yep.
And they committed to the run in the second half, and that's really when the game kind of like got away from Notre Dame because they obviously covered. They kept it close. It was a gritty, grindy win for Ohio State. I think Marcus Freeman's as legit of a coaching replacement as you're going to find at Notre Dame.
Phenomenal coach.
And I think Notre Dame looked competitive. I thought they were a little scared on offense at times.
I mean, that was that quarterback's first start.
Really?
That was his first start.
I thought you played in 10 games last year.
Played.
So he didn't start any. So he had like mop-up roles last year.
I mean, what's his name? He's in the NFL.
Cohen.
Yeah.
Jack
Old
Cohen.
ex-Wisconsin quarterback.
Yeah.
He was a quarterback all last year.
Yeah. So, So, I don't know. It's hard to tell after week one. I still expect Ohio State to be very, very good. You got to be careful muting that because you're going to forget to
I'm
unmute
not
it.
going to forget.
Well, you don't need to mute it. You can just leave it. He's just searching stuff up over there. He's just a dedicated, really good podcaster, folks. Really good podcaster. But yeah, I think Casey would agree with me that like it's tough to tell what it really means. Like, is maybe Ohio State came out a little flat. I do think that when they finally said screw it, we'll just run the ball, they looked a lot better.
I agree. I agree with that statement.
So we'll see. We'll see going forward. I hate Ohio State. They're not going to be on my board very much this year just because I don't like watching them and I despise them as a program. So
they'll get brought up a lot because we're going to possibly do a top 5 section, so they'll definitely be in the top 5.
Yeah, that's true. Utah, Florida. This game was
This was a phenomenal
banger.
This was a phenomenal way to end this Saturday night.
This was an absolute banger. I love this game.
These are both of our dogs of the week.
Dog of the week. We're huge Florida Gator fans now. Shout out to the Florida Gators. Shout out to my man Joey from the Billmar down there in Treasure Island, Florida. Yes, Casey, give it to him. Give it to him. Anthony Richardson might win the Heisman. Or is that just too aggressive to say that?
Dude, they were telling him he'd a top 10 pick.
That too.
They
send them to the line.
I swear to you, they brought that up.
Yeah, Booger McFarland did at the half. I remember him.
He said this was gonna be a top 10 pick,
and I laughed. I said that's why they call him Hot Take Booger because he just says random shit. Like that.
He just throws shit to a wall and hopefully one of us.
He's like, oh, I got a microphone. They pay me to say things, so I'm just gonna say something really stupid.
I mean, this was a phenomenal game. Really close. Ended Florida winning 29-26.
We talked about this before the podcast. Not to cut you off. Maybe hate's a strong word. So Utah was a 2.5 point favorite, right?
They were 2.5 point favorites.
So I get why. Like, everyone's talking about Utah being, like, a favorite for the college football playoff. Whenever you go to any place, whether it's LSU, Florida, the Michigan
down south, you're heading. No, I just think you're heading down south to an SEC school.
It's a big school at night at their place.
They're gonna be rocking.
It's good, dude. That's not like an atmosphere where I think you'd have to be so much better than, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, dude, even though I never even considered picking Utah. It was Florida from the jump. And yeah, we both were right on that. We hit our underdog of the week. And that was just a great game. It's what you love about college football. You know, Richardson spinning out of the pocket, doing that fake pass, and then finds his guy in the end zone. It was just electric. That place was rocking. Definitely would add. What's going on here? Recording has stopped for that. Or is your mic still going?
Yeah, mic's still going. No, it's just me.
Oh, well, fuck.
Tactical difficulties, guys. We're getting right back to it. Now we have Tyler coming back. Yeah, we're still in. We're still going strong.
So we're going to have two different... Oh, it should still be one audio.
Still going, yeah, because I'm still on it.
All right, sorry about that, guys. So we were talking about Florida, Utah, and I was just saying that's like what you love about college football right there. That place, I can't imagine how many cold beers were drank in Gainesville that night.
Oh, they went out and they partied until 4 a.m.
I hope so. I would have.
Let's get into the last game of the week. Florida State LSU game was in New Orleans.
Yeah, so it's where the Saints play.
Yep. So it was at what? They're the Silverdome?
No,
that's here.
I can't remember. It's not the Mercedes-Benz.
Something dome. They played at Wednesday.
The Superdome.
Superdome, wherever the hell it is, down in New Orleans. They played. That was a banger of a game. That was a great way to end the Sunday.
You know, it's funny because it was kind of like sloppy game, and obviously, I'm rooting for Florida State. My dad, we talked about a lot this episode, went to Florida State. And family. I hate Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly's a fraud.
It's one of those things.
After halftime, the interview, where does Southern accent go? The interview after halftime, and he's just like, yeah, we got to do things better.
It's one of those things that, like, you left a Notre Dame team that was top 5 in the country, that is top 5 right now, or they think they dropped to 8 now, or it's still a top 10 team in the country to go to a team that's not ranked, and then you lose your first game to a team that's not even ranked. I think they said this is the first time since in a while that Brian Kelly lost to an unranked team to start out the season.
That doesn't surprise me. I thought the ending was hilarious. # college kickers, # special teams, # nothing going right at the end of the game for LSU. They drive down, and it was a great drive. One, Jersey.
Why don't you go for 2?
Probably should have went for 2.
You drove the ball 99 yards, scored a touchdown with 0 seconds left. You have the momentum. Go for 2.
Yeah,
end the game. Win or lose. Either end the game or you lose by 1. You still gave your team to win. A chance for your team to win.
It's also not like it's not a top 2 matchup where dude, you're already not ranked. Why not just go for it?
Yeah.
If you lose, you lose. Who cares? Great game. I again love Florida State. Love State. I can't believe the LSU even started mounting a comeback. I was like, this game's over. No way. The next thing you know, you're like, oh shit, they got a kick for overtime. And then what Brian Kelly even said, that's on him. Didn't he make an adjustment to the left side of the line?
That's what I heard. Brian Kelly made an adjustment to the left side of the line for their
kickoff
for their field goal team.
Yep.
That left side left a huge hole. Florida State guy came up and touched.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he tipped it. Ball hit the crossbar, just under the crossbar, and missed it. Game over. Florida State wins by 1.
Yeah.
21-20.
Crazy. Great game. Great week 1 slate of college football.
Oh, that was a great... I mean, one game we didn't talk about that ended college football, that ended the week, was Clemson, Georgia Tech.
We don't need to talk about that game.
Clemson ended up winning, but, I mean...
Although, I do have a bet that...
Georgia Tech's not winning 3.5 games.
I have over 3.5.
I have over 3.5. I have under 3.5.
Yeah, so...
I have them winning 1 game, and that's next week.
Anyone that wants to ride with Tyler, # Yellow Jackets in the chat or in the comment section below if you think they're going over.
# ride with T-Web, if you want to ride with T-Web for this, if you want to ride with me, hashtag King Casey.
Hashtag
Riding with King.
Hashtag riding with a bitch. That doesn't always talk about. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the college football. I mean, we just basically what we try to do, guys, is just recap the big games and the ones that we talked about previously, the ones that we kind of had some action on. But it was a great week one. I'm excited for college football. I hate when I say that because I'm a big summer guy, and whenever you're saying you're excited for college football, it kind of feels like
I love the fall. Fall's my favorite time of year. College football's back. Football is back. We have the NFL coming up this Sunday.
Yep.
I cannot wait. My favorite time of year, honestly, is in November when we have, I think it's like 27 or 20-something days of straight football.
Yeah.
Every single day you have one game of football.
At least something.
At least something. I cannot wait for that.
So, I love it too. I'm excited for it. It does suck that it's going to be cold here in Michigan soon. I'm not looking forward to that. But until then, we will just ride it out. I have my last golf week this week. I'm sad about that. But that just means more time to record for this, I guess.
I start bowling Wednesday, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Wednesdays are going to be like my editing day, I think. Because you're going to be at bowling anyway.
Cool. We'll talk about that offline. But tune in to next episode. I think we're
going to try to record Wednesday. No, Thursday.
And post Friday.
Yeah. So
just to give you guys a chance to, like, if you guys want to ride with us for our college bets.
Yeah, you'll be able
gives you a chance to ride with us instead of listening on Saturday morning and figuring out, did I listen to, this is a 12 o'clock game. Don't have time to listen. Don't have time to bet it.
We'll also, as we get better at this, we'll have graphics on the screen. We'll have like a link to our socials. We'll tweet out our bets every week. So if you don't want to listen to the full episode or don't have time, you can at least see what the bets are and then go back and listen to the reasoning behind it. I can also say, not every week we're going to bet the same number of games. It's just kind of how the board sits. We're not going to just throw money on games just to throw money on games. So
yeah, we'll talk about them like we did last week. Like we talked about Florida State, LSU, and we didn't bet the game. We watched the game. We had an interest in the game. Yeah. It's like games that we'll talk about them. Like the NFL, I think we're possibly going to talk about every single game.
Yeah, because it's smaller. It's an easier slate.
Yeah, it's easier to pick from, and we're going to talk. But I'm not betting all 15 games or all 16 games.
No.
That's
we
crazy.
are going to incorporate at some point like the Tyler and Casey and Tyler parlay of the week, where we're going to throw like $5, $10 on like a crazy 11-leg parlay, where like if we hit, we win like 20 grand. So we're going to try to do that every week because we always used to do that anyway, just out of fun. Because like there's been a couple times we've hit like our first 6. I'm like, dude, we're going to Vegas. Like we're buying.
There's been a lot to where I think there's been one time or at least 2 times where we went all the way to our last leg.
Yeah.
And our last leg lost it.
Yeah. And that's always like it adds like an element. Like I'm watching Jaguars Jets Monday night because if the Jags somehow win, we have 32K in our account now.
I'm gonna wake up at 9:30 and watch the game in London because they're my first team of the parlay.
That's the worst too when you lose the first leg of a parlay. You're like, let's make a new one. Let's just make another one.
At that point, I just do another one for like the 4:30.
Yeah, you're like, fuck it. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. I had free betting credits. You know what I mean? But as always, if you do decide to bet safely, bet responsibly.
1-800-GAMBLING, I think it is.
Something like that.
Gambling Anonymous.
And again, for the purposes of this show, for what we bet primarily everything through the Barstool Sportsbook. So give them a check, or check them out. Although they don't need shameless plugs from us, but it's always nice to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
So, all right, folks.
Tune in next episode.
Yep. We'll see you guys. Remember to like the video,
subscribe, and give us some comments. Give us some feedback on whatever you guys want.
Share it out on your socials if you think a couple of your buddies would enjoy us 2 idiots rambling. We did have some technical issues. I hope that doesn't affect the process going forward. But regardless, it should be a good hour-long app for you guys. So hopefully you enjoy it. Turn on the bell. It'll notify you guys whenever we upload new content. Because there are going to be days where we may not stick to the same schedule if we have to record like an emergency pod or something big happens. So just make sure you turn on the bell so you guys don't miss anything going forward. And if not, we'll see you guys on Friday.
Love you guys.
Love you. See ya. Nice.